everybody. I'm Heather. Welcome to the third and final video in the Holiday Handmade series. Today we are going to work on scrunchies. As promised in my intro video, we would be doing at least one scrunchie video here. Probably way more than that, but we are doing some holiday themed scrunchies today. These are so beginner friendly, so easy, don't require a pattern. You can do them on any machine and they're so fast. So if you need something quick and easy and simple, but really want it to be from your heart, these are a great gift to make. We are going to work on 3 different versions, I guess, of scrunchies today. So this is a traditional cute little scrunchie that we're going to use regular elastic for, and I'm going to show you how to do that. This is a cute little Grinchy print. And then we have 2 what I call extra large scrunchies. And they look a little different because they're a different length in fabric, which I'll explain in 1 minute. And we're going to talk about how to make these. And these are these cute ones that look really good on your wrist. And we're going to go through all the versions that we have here today. And I'll show you just how easy it is to make a handmade gift from the heart this holiday season in our last handmade holiday video. So stay tuned. Okay. So, as I had said, we're going to make 2 different versions of a scrunchie today. So our first version is that smaller white scrunchie. This one is a Grinch pattern. Who doesn't love a good Grinch? So this pattern is what we call a traditional scrunchie. It is about 4 1/4 wide, 4 1/4 inches wide. And this is about 12 inches long, this panel that we have here. So 12 inches long by 4 1/4 wide. We're going to work on this one first. I'm going to go through the materials for all the scrunchies we're using today, and we're going to start with this one. And this smaller scrunchie, we are going to use this 3/8 inch elastic. And this I just got at the Walmart. You could buy it anywhere really, any craft store, fabric store, anything like that. And this just goes inside. We're going to tie it up super easy, super quick. And then the 2 larger versions, the extra large scrunchies, we have this panel. This is actually 6 1/2 inches wide by 34 inches long. So you can't even see the start and the end. So this is quite a bit larger, and that creates this larger scrunchie. And then the third version we have is also 6 1/2 inches wide. This is this red crushed velvet. And these all came from Joann Fabrics, all the fabrics we're using today. So this is 6 1/2 inches wide, and this is actually 54 inches long, and that's how you get this really, really fluffy, good accessory style scrunchie. And for both of the extra large versions, we're actually using 1 inch wide elastic that we're going to sew together. So as I said, we are doing 2 different scrunchie styles. They're both super easy, super quick, and we are going to get rolling on our first style.
All right, so here we are at the machine, and we have our 4 1/4 inch wide by 12 inch long first scrunchie piece. And our first step is going to be to turn it right sides together. And on the open end here, we are going to just do a straight stitch. And I have a little selvage on this side, so I am taking into account the selvage. And then on the regular edge, going to do about 1/4 inch, but you can basically close this off however you'd like. We're just going to straight stitch down the whole thing, back stitching at the beginning and at the end. Okay, now we are starting with this scrunchie. We're going to do the whole thing, but all of our scrunchies, regardless of if they're regular size or extra large, we're going to do this step on. So when we move on to those other scrunchies, we're going to do that same exact thing. For now, since we're sticking with this, I'm going to cut off the extra. So down to about 1/4 inch there. And then we are going to open it up like this. So now we have closed edges here and we're open on both sides. And now what we're gonna do is we're creating a tube basically. So this side that's closest to you, we are going to pull into about a half, and then this side pull in right over it. So this is what it should look like. And then we're gonna pull this lower edge here all the way up to meet the upper edge. So now you have a little sleeve. And then we are gonna take this to the sewing machine. And we're gonna sew a little less than 1/4 of an inch. And I'm gonna keep going with this and sort of show you how to maneuver this tube as we sew. So we're gonna backstitch. And now we're getting close to what looks like would be the end. And you just wanna go right here on the inside while holding up here, and we're gonna pull out more fabric. I promise this will make sense as you sit and do it. And we're just gonna continue to fold over those raw edges to meet each other as we move down. So same thing, now we've got our needle in, presser foot down, and we're taking this inner tube and we're pulling it down as we hold on to the top. And this gives us more fabric that needs to be sewn. And again. Just being careful to make sure that the raw edges are lining up. And eventually you'll get to a spot where I am here where you started to sew. So this is where we began stitching. So this is the only part left open still. We are going to leave an opening of about 1.5 inches, right in between where we started to sew and where we end. We backstitched, and now we have this tube with an opening right here. And through this opening, we're gonna grab the inner tube and we're gonna flip our scrunchie right side out. There we go. Scrunchie is now right side out. And so we're going to do that tube method when we get to the larger scrunchies as well. So once we complete this one and move on, you'll see that it is the same method for the first couple of steps of putting together these scrunchies. All right, believe it or not, we are almost done with our regular size scrunchie construction. See how easy that is? So I have this tool that I got off of Amazon. I don't even remember what it's called, but it is used for sort of clipping elastic in and then pulling it through scrunchies. I maybe searched scrunchie elastic tool on Amazon, but you don't have to use something like this. You can use a safety pin or a clip or basically anything that you can maneuver through this tube that's going to be helpful to you. Again, you don't have to have this. It just makes it a little bit easier. And our elastic has been cut to 8 inches long. And so what we're going to do now is we're just going to find that opening that we left right here. And with our seam on the outside, we're just going to run our elastic all the way through. Okay, So now we have our elastic all the way through our scrunchie, and these ones we just tie off. So what I'm doing here is just putting both of them around my finger, and then I will create a space. Flip them through, and there we have a knot. And I'm just going to push this knot up as far as I can get it. And then we're going to make it tight. Pulling on the bottom and the top to ensure that we're all set. And then we just pull up that elastic in. Pull out some extra thread. And then we're going to close up our seam here. So we're opening. This will just, these fold in on themselves when you sort of tug on them, just like that. We're going to take this to the sewing machine and we are going to sew it at about 1/8 of an inch and just close up that hole. Okay, we're just going to cut off any loose threads that we find. These are cotton, so you can get some of those loose threads. And look, that's it. Our regular scrunchie is all done. That easy. So what we're going to do next is we're going to move on to those first couple of steps that are exactly the same for our extra large scrunchies, and I will take you through quickly sewing those together until we get to the place where we do something a little bit different. Okay, so we made tubes out of both, and as you could probably tell, or maybe you couldn't, this ribbed velvet, it's amazing, but it's so terrible to sew, so keep that in mind. If you're totally new, maybe you don't want to use this material, it rolls in on itself, and you're not going to get an even stitch line, so if that's going to drive you crazy, definitely don't use it. But it does make a really pretty scrunchie, so I mean, give it a try. Just know that it is totally normal for it to roll and for you to have to sort of readjust when you're doing this. So we're just going to go ahead and pull these both out as we did before through our little openings. like so. Okay, so we're going to use our scrunchie tool again. Here you could use a clippy or a safety pin if you don't have one of these tools. And we have the 1 inch wide scrunchie that we're going to insert, 1 inch wide elastic that we're going to insert into both of our extra large scrunchies, except we're not going to tie this together at the end. So once we get to that point where these elastics are pulled through, I am going to show you how we finish these off. All right, so we have our 1 inch wide elastics pulled through both of our extra large scrunchies. This just has a little clip holding it together for the time being. I am going to unhook this and clip this one for the moment. Also, what we're going to do is we're going to take, this is a liquid stitch, basically any sort of fabric glue, and we are going to temporarily, we're going to glue right here, and then we're going to pop this elastic piece on top. We're going to temporarily glue them together, and we're going to let them sit for about a half an hour. That's how long this glue takes to dry. And then we're going to come back and we're going to stitch this together. So right now we're going to apply our glue to our elastic, glue together, and then we're going to let it sit. My glue is sort of old, so I have to take the top off to do this, but we are just going to plop a dollop of glue on here. Little piece, and then we're going to put this on, and we're going to use this clip to just keep it clipped together, and this will set the glue. We're going to let we're going to do that to this too, and let both of these sit for about a half an hour, and then we will come back together and finish these up. Okay, so our half hour has elapsed and the glue has set. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take off the clips, and then we are going to stitch back and forth across the 1 inch elastic, probably anywhere between 8 and 10 times, so that we can secure the elastic together. So that will be hard to see, but we basically just went back and forth across, and that keeps the elastic together. We're going to do the same thing on this one, and then we're going to close them up. Okay, so to close them up, we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did for the small scrunchie. We are just going to tug, which will turn the fabric in on itself, and then we're going to sew at about 1/8 of an inch. Then we're going to trim up any loose threads. Or take off any threads that got on from the other scrunchies. This one. Okay, extra larges are good to go.
Okay, everybody, there we have it. Super easy handmade scrunchies. 2 different ways, all done. So you could see most of the construction was very similar. It was just about how we closed up the elastic at the end. And the difference in sizing. So really no pattern. You can choose how wide, how long, how much fabric, what kind of elastic you want to use, and you can feel free to experiment. That's how I got to these 3 different sizes. So I hope that you will make some scrunchies this year. They're so fun, and everybody loves a good scrunchie, whether you have long hair, short hair, medium hair, no hair and just want to put it on your wrist. Anything goes. Have a great holiday season with your family, and we'll be back with more tutorials soon.